Not a good day, Donald. Your regime is facing criminal contempt in federal court right now after defying a federal judge's order to not send migrants to concentration camps in El Salvador. You've got Senator Bernie Sanders and Congresswoman AOC drawing massive crowds in Idaho, Montana, Salt Lake City. They're all there booing you, Donald Trump, and cheering tax the rich. Want to know what else, Donald? Your tariffs are backfiring. You're crashing the economy. CEOs have zero confidence in you, and China is mocking you. They are posting these memes of you with your fat, stubby little fingers where they're saying, oh, look who holds the cards now, and they're not budging at all, as your chief propagandist, Caroline Leavitt, goes on Fox and says, I am delivering a message on behalf of Donald Trump to Xi Jinping. Please give him a call. Please give him a call. But I guess for Donald and this deranged, demented regime of his, that means America is back. America is back, he says, as quite literally, I think we are in one of the worst economic periods, and we're heading into an even worse economic period in the United States history. But Trump's posting America's back. What, Donald, you don't think people can look at their life savings? You don't think they look at their 401ks? You don't think they can actually see the grocery prices going up, or that housing is less affordable, or mortgage rates are soaring? You don't think people recognize that? You think everybody, Donald, has MAGA mush brain and gets their news from state regime media? No, Donald. People get their news from the MeidasTouch network right now on YouTube. They subscribe here. They go to Midas Plus on our Substack. This is the most watched news network in the world, Donald. Sorry about that. Take a look at what the Financial Times is saying. Are they saying America is back? No. The Financial Times isn't saying that. Are they some lefty radical paper, Donald? Never thought of the Financial Times like that. Here's their headline: the economic consequences of a mad king. Trump's delight in doing whatever he wishes in the moment is incompatible with stability and sustained dynamism. Oh, I guess that means America's back, Donald? I don't think so. Here's what this article says. We know that nobody can be trusted with absolute power, least of all the demagogues who seek it. The one good thing Trump's trade policies are achieving is to demonstrate that yet again. The world's challenge is to survive the folly. The US's is to end it. That's how they're talking about you, you pathetic, vile piece of trash, Donald. And I'm not going to hold back and mince my words about what we think about you here. Zero respect. You deserve none, as you send migrants to concentration camps and then claim that you won a Supreme Court order 9-0 when you lost. And then you have Pam Bondi, your attorney general, have the audacity to say that Abrego Garcia's family is better off without their dad, that the kids are better off without their father, that the wife is better off without her husband who had no criminal history. Y'all are a bunch of sick, pathetic. I'll just leave it there. Here's Pam Bondi, Donald Trump's attorney general. Play this clip.
Maryland is safer because he is gone, and that woman that he is married to and that child he had with her, they are safer tonight because he is out of our country and sitting in El Salvador where he belongs.
Okay, so we're 72 days into trading in the S&P 500, Donald. Is this America being great? Because we are now in our fifth worst start to a year in history, only really behind 2001, September 11th, 2020, COVID, 1932, post-Great Depression. But I guess for Donald and the White House and the U.S. Department of Labor, this is Americans being great right here. Photos of miners with their faces covered from the mines, and the Trump regime is saying, this is what we want more of, more coal, more, that's what you're saying? How about we get Americans higher paying jobs? How about we get Americans working in safe jobs? How about we have America lead the world in new cutting edge technology? How about we help people like that afford homes, Donald? How about we focus on what you promised, which you've lied about because you're a fraud in every single thing that you do? A deranged one too. Donald Trump posting, "Can you believe it? A judge ruled against us." Wow, wow, wow. I'm not even going to read the thing because it's just whining and whining and more whining right here. I've never just seen any adult behave like this other than Donald. And just think about what a sick, demented human that he is, right? By now, he knows, because we're in Thursday now when I'm recording this, he knows that the governor of Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro, was targeted in an assassination attempt where the governor's residence was burnt in the arson attempt, and the attempted murderer had a hammer to try to kill Shapiro on the first night of Passover, right? Has Governor Shapiro heard from Donald Trump? No. Former President Biden sent his deepest condolences to the governor. But here's what we're learning. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro says he hasn't heard from Trump since the arson attack. The White House did not respond to a request for comment. How difficult is it, Donald, for you to show some sort of sympathy or empathy or anything for Donald Trump, because he's a deranged, demented maniac? He can't. Suffering is the point. Here was Donald Trump on Air Force One several days ago when he was asked about the assassination attempt. So he's on notice of what's happening, but he don't give a crap because he's a crappy human being. You just have to accept that about him. He is a crappy human being. Here's what he said. Play this clip.
Mr. President, do you have any reaction to the governor of Pennsylvania? His mansion was set on fire. Do you have any reaction?
I just heard about it. No, I have to look into it.
You got the perfect health report. Everybody in the press wants to know this. How do you do it, Mr. President?
Yes, this crappy human being is the same person who has denied federal funding for additional help to North Carolina for Hurricane Helene relief. He's denied additional help for debris clearing. He's denied additional FEMA help to the state of Georgia for debris clearing. I mean, who denies that? Meanwhile, Trump does, and Musk. While they're out there, what do they do? They're talking more about the gold card and that guy who from Musk's team who called the 19-year-old or 21-year-old guy who calls himself Mr. Big Balls. They're working on the Trump gold card that they're going to sell for $5 million to the Russian oligarchs and the Chinese oligarchs. These are deranged people. By the way, have you heard Donald Trump talk about this at all? Have you heard anybody really talk about this at all since the headline was announced that 2 service members were killed near the U.S.-Mexico border in a vehicle accident, and a 3rd service member involved in the accident remains in critical condition? These service members were sent to the border on behalf of the Trump regime for their performative, pretending there's a war that's raging right now so they can say there's an invasion. 2 died, 1 critically injured. Our armed services, our troops. And does Donald Trump say anything? No. Just like he didn't say anything about the American soldiers who died in Lithuania. He doesn't care. He doesn't give a crap. He has no connection to what this country is all about. In fact, he hates this country, and his actions show every day. Why wouldn't you put a message about these soldiers who died that you sent to the Mexican border? Why wouldn't you put a message about the soldiers who died in Lithuania? Because Trump has said that people who are injured or die in war are suckers and losers. We know Trump's pathology. He's a sick, demented person. But he's also a weak person. Here his regime is. Here's Caroline Leavitt begging China, please give him a call. Here, play this clip.
And China knows that too, Sean. And as President Trump directed me to say yesterday, it remains true tonight. The ball is in China's court. They need to do business with the United States. They need the best thing on the face of the planet, and that is the American consumer. And we are the best place in the world to do business. And the rest of the world knows that, and that's why Japan was here today to negotiate a trade deal.
And while that's happening as well, you then also have Kevin McCarthy. Sometimes I shouldn't forget how spineless this guy is. The disgraced former Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, goes on Fox because one of Fox's themes right now is that the crashing of the economy is not Trump's fault. It is the chairman of the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell's fault, because Chairman Powell talked about what's happening in the economy when he spoke in a speech that he gave yesterday. So as a result of that, the Trump regime says it's Powell's fault. It's the chairman of the Federal Reserve. He's doing it by speaking about the conditions of the economy caused by Trump's disastrous trade war. This is the message on Fox and that McCarthy's spewing. Here, play this clip.
Kevin, I want to talk about what Jerome Powell did today. He essentially came out and said that these tariffs, which the Democrats are going to seize on, obviously, that the tariffs are going to, likely to create some type of recession, and that will hurt U.S. growth forecasts going forward, which, obviously the Trump administration thinks the exact opposite about how these tariffs will work. But of course, that sent the market way down. And you can kind of see this little game playing out between Powell and the Trump administration. Do you think the Trump administration needs to come out in a full-throated manner and refute what the Fed chair said today about an issue that is still number one on the minds of all voters now and will be on the midterms?
Well, what he said is hurting the economy. The market reacts to what he said. Now, he only has a short amount of time left in this job, and I think there's some excellent people who could take this job going forward. But remember what President Trump has already done if you want to look at pure economics. He's getting people to invest billions of dollars in America because of his policies.
Yeah, what they're trying to do is Dr. Fauci, Jerome Powell. They're moving in that direction, right? Trump said with COVID, like a miracle, it's all going to go away. There's nothing to worry about. And then they try to blame everything on Fauci. They're doing that with Powell, the chairman of the Federal Reserve. They want to blame him and say his comments talking about the reality of what's happening. Remember Trump said about COVID? You can't do testing. If you don't do testing, you don't even know what's happening. That's what we want. So the fact that Chairman Powell is talking about what's actually happening, that is pissing Donald Trump off. Now, I'll leave you with this right here. Azalea Banks, who voted for Trump, singer, songwriter, Trumper. This is what she said back on November 6, 2024. LMAO, I lied. I voted for Trump yesterday. Here's what she's saying right now. Okay, I think it's time for everyone who voted for Trump to admit that we made an effing mess. Like, this is an absolute disaster. He's so petty and vindictive right now. To be honest, rightfully so, but not when the well-being and livelihood of billions of people, damn near the entire world, lay in your hands. Someone needs to get him a cute little Lorazepam and a high-grade ashwagandha supplement because it can't happen like this. Nobody on earth is afraid of crazy old white man anger. Old white men need to reinvent the archetype because it's too predictable. Like China is just dunking on him and everyone right now. That's what they're saying about Donald Trump as the U.S. economic policy uncertainty index soars to record highs, as our markets, $1.5 trillion wiped off the United States market. Donald Trump looks like this with his orange face. And here's what China's posting. The art of the deal with Trump's stubby little fat fingers. And they're mocking the hell out of him right now. And by the way, Donald, your regime needs to respond to federal Judge Boasberg, who's held y'all probable cause criminal contempt for not following the orders. And he wants names of who he'll appoint probably a special counsel to throw these people in jail. That's what's going on. I'm Ben Meiselas. This is the MeidasTouch Network. Remember, go to Meidas Plus. Check out the merch at store.meidastouch.com as well. Check it all out. Thanks for watching and have a good one.
New Meidas merch drop. Check out the latest pro-democracy sticker packs, t-shirts, hats, sweatshirts, and more. All at store.meidastouch.com.